it's just math. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just going to learn from whatever we teach it. So we have the control still.
Good, good. Let's send this message out there because again, there are a lot of skepticism and frankly fear still, right? Let's turn into some positive. You mentioned supply chain before. We all
Mhm.
seen 2020, 2021, right? All the major disruptions. So can you spell out a little bit what kind of efficiencies, what kind of really positive AI is driven in number of industries, including supply chain? You mentioned manufacturing. So where do you see this fantastic progress out there? Mhm.
So it's actually, yeah, it's exciting that there are so many companies taking on AI to solve their supply challenges. Uh, and yeah, it'll impact every single industry where supply chain is relevant, which is most. Um, and many of them are getting on board, and that's just going to make everything better from like a consumer point of view. You'll actually be able to buy a car. You'll hopefully won't be a victim of the skyrocketing prices when there is no supply. If you're a manufacturer using AI, say you can identify that. Um, Say you're an electronics manufacturer, maybe you're making you're in printed circuit board industry and you're making a wafer, and you learn early on in the process that it is going to fail down the line, and it's very expensive to continue to process that, whether it's the material used or the energy used. To identify that early on and scrap it or rework it, you'll get to push a lot more product at the front end of your production line to meet your production demands. And you won't run out of the material in the meantime before you end that production in order to get that supply. So, um, and then when it comes to, I mean, even COVID tests, I mean, I think if the government was able to take a hold of this, they'd see a lot of benefits in their resource management. AI can help take data across a supply chain and pinpoint and forecast demand in ways that our current traditional forecasting models don't do, because AI uses current information and our traditional forecasting models use past information. And before COVID, our world was very different for consistently, like more consistently, and it was easier to forecast based on the past. But with evolving information, we need evolving models, and that's what AI can provide us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, can we jump into some customer-facing applications? Because we know virtual agents, they were huge before, and now with pandemic, with post-pandemic world, it's only growing. So, fantastic new companies coming on market, because of maturity, and new use cases that can be added to AI customer-facing platforms. So, where do you think we're going with it this year?
So already, I think that there are like, yeah, to your point, that this space has matured a lot. I went to the AI conference in New York in December, and I got to see a couple of these companies firsthand. And like, I guess to your point, it was a bit of like a culture shock. I'm seeing this AI, human like AI, talk to me, and so um, it's funny because I'm like, this would be way better than the automated, messages on, like, I'm waiting to select an option on the menu that doesn't exist. I'm trying to tell my phone, or that uh, I guess voice AI, whatever the case is on the other end of it. I don't know what it is, but to connect me with an operator and they don't understand me. So I think this will make a lot of it'll ease up a lot of tension when it comes to getting what you need when you're a customer. It's like your questions will be answered much more efficiently, and it'll be a big time saver. Also, a lot of the struggles that you have can be mitigated by AI on the back end. But I think AI is getting a lot smarter and understanding the consumer. Same within in the metaverse, AI is going to be understanding who we are, what we like, just in the same way that Facebook algorithms and Google currently do. A lot of AI is happening in the background that we're not aware of, but it's learning us and making our lives easier as consumers. And it's only until it doesn't work that we're aware of it. But if it's working, we're we're happy and allowing it to do its job. But it's just in this year, I think, especially there's so many companies coming out that will um, change the game of that customer, at least the customer service, the frontline customer service interactions that we're having.